Welcome to an intro on all the orchestra instruments. First up is violin. Violins will typically come in a case that looks something like this. We need to make sure that all of the buckles right here are pointing up, so that when I open it, I'm going to flick and lift it up, and then this ring will lift up and off like that. If I have the whole case upside down, I will have to flip down, and that would end up spilling the violin out of its case. So I need to make sure that I'm flipping up, and then it'll open nicely. Another way to remember this is that the logo will always be on the top if you have it the right way. The bottom of this case does not have any logo. Once I open up my case, kindly, I will see on the inside, I will have my instrument, my bow, maybe a shoulder pad, and then a little storage compartment. Some cases are different. Some cases are missing that storage compartment. Some things don't have all of them in there. The violin itself is the smallest of the orchestra instruments. You can see here, it's quite small. All orchestra instruments are shaped the same way, with this special bout. These F holes, we call them right here, are where the sound comes on and echoes out. When holding the violin, we're going to hold it in front of us in our left hand. So if you hold out and make an L, and reach out in front of you, make that L, you will have the violin here. You're going to grab the shoulder right here with your hand. You're then going to rotate the violin this way, upside down. Take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder, and slowly bring that violin up there and replace the violin where your hand was. Now, on the top of the violin, you will see right here is a black piece called the chin rest. Can you guess what goes on the chin rest? Your chin. So what you're going to do is, instead of laying sideways like this, you're going to physically turn your head to the side and lay your chin on the chin rest. And now I should have the support to hold the violin. So my left hand now can move all the way down to over the fingerboard here, where you'll likely see pieces of tape. These pieces of tape are for your fingers. You'll notice that there are 4 pieces of tape, and excluding your thumb, you have 4 fingers. So the piece of tape closest to the top, also known as the scroll, that piece of tape is for your first finger, your index finger. When we're learning the beginning of violin, this will always be where your first finger goes, never anywhere else. Eventually, you'll learn to shift and move your finger to other places. The second piece of tape on any string is for your second finger, the third for your third or ring finger, and the fourth for your pinky. So that way, when we play a note, we can put down various fingers to play different notes. You'll notice that it gets a lot quieter when I have a finger down. Don't worry, that's supposed to happen. But as long as you have enough pressure that you're not hearing a weird thud or no sound. If that's happening, you're not pressing hard enough with your finger. Use your thumb to squeeze on the back side of the violin to get a full sound. And that works on every string. The strings of the violin are numbered like so. From thickest to thinnest, it goes G, D, A, E. They're all perfect fifths apart. When tuning the violin, we tune to those notes, G, D, A, E. In beginning orchestra, typically we will not want to tune our own instruments. Let the teacher do that. Tuning the instrument is done with these pegs up at the top on the scroll. Tuning pegs raise and lower the pitch of the string by tightening or loosening the string. If I twist, even just a little bit, notice how little I'm going to twist this. My note goes from G right here, and I twist it a little bit, and now I have such a loose string that you can't even hear a pitch. So I got to tighten that back up. And then I have to push in. It's a very special technique that you should only let your teacher do until they teach you specifically. At the bottom here, you may have just noticed me use, we have 4 little screws. These screws are called fine tuners, which are used to slightly change the pitch. If I twist that, now I have a raised pitch. And that is how you can adjust finely the pitch of your string. Maybe your teacher will teach you how to do that before using these. If you tighten a string too much or too tight, just like a rubber band, if you pull the rubber band too tight, it will snap and break. And not only is that dangerous to you and the instrument, but it costs money and time to fix. Violins can also be played with a bow. Most typically, this is how we play an orchestra. Bows are stored in your case. You'll notice there is a locking mechanism, which is literally just a plug that twists to the side. That is how you secure your bow in place so it doesn't jiggle about while it is in storage. When we take our bow out, we have various parts of the bow. Okay? At the bottom, we have a screw, which is used to tighten or loosen the hairs. You'll notice when I loosen it, the hairs become flimsy and not as tight. The bottom part of the bow, right here, is called the frog. Someone decided this looks like a frog long ago, and we still call it that. That is where we're going to hold the bow. So, holding the bow with your left hand, so you have a security, you're going to use your right hand. You're going to take your thumb and place it just between the stick of the bow and this metal tip called the ferrule. You're going to stick your thumb right in there. Notice which direction I have the bow facing. The tip of the bow is pointing to my left. So you're going to place your thumb in between the frog and the ferrule, and then you're going to grab on top of the stick with your middle finger. Okay, that is the most important part of the bow hold. The next most important part is your pinky. Your pinky is not going to go in front or behind the bow, but rather go right on top. This is so that we have some balance in the bow. You can notice now I'm holding it with one hand. If I let go with my pinky, the whole bow will drop. My pinky is there for balance. My other 2 fingers I'm going to place. My ring finger and my pointer finger I'm going to place wherever is comfortable for me, likely just in front of the bow. And this is my standard bow hold. Okay? When playing the bow, I'm going to put the bow on the strings, and now I can brush side to side to get that. The only thing I'm missing is, in order to play a proper sound, these hairs, which are made of horsehair, by the way, need to be tight. If I have loose hair, I'm not going to get a very good sound, or if any sound, really. Okay? And these hairs are fragile. I don't want to touch them with my hands as much as possible, because I don't want to get my oil from my fingers onto the hairs, and I don't want the sap or rosin on the bow to get on me. Also, these hairs are fragile and they will rip out, and if too many of them rip out, you are now out of the bow. So we're going to use the screw to tighten the bow. You'll notice how the hairs come together. And a good point is when it becomes hard to twist. Once it becomes hard and I can notice that all these are tight, I'm likely at a good spot. You can test by bouncing the hairs on your string. And if you can put a little pressure and the hairs do not touch the bow, then you are at a good spot. I'm only touching with my finger to demonstrate. If I put a little pressure, you'll notice there's still a gap in between the stick and the hair. If this bow were looser, and I put pressure on it, now the hairs are touching the stick. That is too loose, so I need to tighten more. Now that it is tightened, I have a good sound on my instrument. If your bow still does not provide a good sound on your instrument, then what it might be missing is something called rosin. This is rosin. It comes in a little holder, and it is a type of sap that is sticky. We need to scratch it a little bit so that we can get some contact, and we're going to put it on our bow. We're going to start at the very bottom of our tightened bow and go all the way to the top and all the way back down. And we could do that 2 or 3 times, and then slowly and quickly all throughout the bow. Depending on how long it's been since your bow has last been rosined, you might need more than that. And that's going to make the sound even better because now the hair is extra sticky and can get friction and grab and make the string resonate. When I bow on my instrument, I am bowing in a very particular place. I am bowing between the end of the fingerboard, this black brown piece of wood here, and the bridge. This is the bridge. My bow is always going right in the middle of these two pieces here. What that means then too is that these parts of the string now have rosin left over. If you note it, you may have noticed when I put fresh rosin and I play it on my string, you might be able to tell a little bit, some dust flew off the bow. I don't know if you could see that. But that dust is sticky and now it's on these strings. So I don't want to touch my fingers there because then my fingers become sticky and the rosin will run out. If we are ever playing what is called pizzicato in orchestra, which means plucked without bow, then I'm going to take my right hand, with my left hand still holding the instrument the same way, and I'm going to use my thumb to anchor on the edge of the fingerboard. So I'm going to take my thumb in the center of my body and I'm going to put it right here on the corner of the fingerboard to anchor my hand. Then I'm going to take my pointer finger and pluck on the strings just above on the fingerboard. Reminder, I don't want to be down here where I was bowing the string because then my fingers will become sticky and that rosin will go away. Reminder, bow in between the fingerboard and the bridge, anchor your thumb to pluck, and pluck pizzicato up here. This bridge, part of the instrument, is not glued into place. The only thing holding this in place is the tightness of these strings. So I want to be very careful not to bump this, otherwise it might fall out and need to get replaced, fixed, or otherwise. Violin is played with the treble clef. And what that means is it is a higher instrument. So when we organize our notes on the staff, the set of 5 lines and 4 spaces, we are going to have the treble clef to organize our notes. The musical alphabet is organized differently on different clefs. Treble clef is the highest of clefs that we use in most music. The order of notes on treble clef from bottom to top the lines are every good bunch deserves fudge, or E, G, B, D, F. The lines in between spell the word face, F-A-C-E, face. When putting away your instrument after practicing, be very careful and hold it always with 2 hands. Violins can be held with one hand right here, but never on their side or upside down. It causes a lot of strain on the neck of the instrument and can end up cracking or breaking your instrument. So it's best practice to use 2 hands. Lay it softly in the cutout in your case and put it away. When you are done practicing with the bow, you always need to make sure to loosen the hairs of your bow until you see them loose and bouncy like this. That way, the tension of the hair is not pulling on the stick, which would end up tiring out the bow over time. So always remember to relax your bow by loosening lefty-loosey with the screw at the end of your practice sessions. Then put it back in your case, lock that hold, and you're done. Anything else you might have can be put away. Close the case and latch it. You're going to take the ring, put it up on top, and then close the latch like so. If your latch accidentally got down without the ring on top, the ring will not fit. So you need to unlatch it again, put the ring on, and then close it. And now you're good to carry your case and put it back in its locker or storage space.